names in his rhymes cause his memories. We running through New York so you never leave. Strap my lungs then we puffin' through with that, right? We're giving them some stories, they come back like manic this, manic that, while you crawling to me.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just going to be going over a common issue that a lot of people keep asking me about, and obviously it's going to be a video regarding the best maintenance tips for all BMW new and existing E60 owners. Now people always ask me how I maintain my E60, how I make it run perfect all the time with no lights. And as you guys know, I always tell you guys, I don't really ever start up my car. I only start it up probably once a week, sometimes twice, once every 2 weeks. I hardly ever use this car now, and my car still runs perfectly with no engine lights. So I'm going to explain to you today how I managed to keep my car performing perfectly, and why I don't have the issues like some other little YouTubers do out there, and why some of you guys always come to me saying you've got this problem, you've got that problem, and why you've always got problems with your cars. So now I'm going to go over my best maintenance tips for the E60. Now as you guys know, I'm the E60 expert on this kind of field. There's nobody else really doing E60. If you want your E60 to run properly, follow my advice and stop following other stupid YouTubers' advice. So the first one, guys, you'll see right here, this is an OBD port. So the first thing you guys need to do is stop messaging me with your P0 codes. You cannot be cheap with BMW. If you're going to be cheap and go and use a cheap scanner, you're going to end up not finding your problem for these cars. Stop listening to all these other little stupid YouTubers telling you can use a cheap little scanner, a C310, this and that. You guys know who I'm referring to. I'm not even going to mention no names, but these are the kind of guys that make you believe you can run BMW cheap when you cannot. It is a simple fact. You guys are all gone bought E60 based on these idiots who've been telling you can run them cheap. You cannot run these cheap on a basic cheap little scanner. Yeah, and as you guys know, since I've gave Nathan Ista, he doesn't even talk about or even review any kind of crappy little scanners anymore, because he knows the truth as well. You cannot run these cars with a cheap little scanner. When you plug up your generic little scanner to this OBD port right here, them P0 codes are basically telling you piss off. That's what them P0 codes mean. So in that sense, stop messaging me, asking me about P0 this, P0 that. Go and get yourself the professional software. If you can't afford the professional software, you should never have bought this car. If you're only managing to afford to buy yourself a cheap little £20, $20 scanner from the auto store, then realistically this car isn't for you. Stop reading out your P0 codes, go and get the professional system and get your codes read properly and get the real fault codes. Stop listening to these other silly little YouTubers and following them with their cheap little scanners. The reason they use cheap little scanners is because they're so dopey, they don't even know how to operate ISTA, and that's the problem with it. A lot of them, until I come along, and they still are using cheap little scanners to diagnose their car, and that's why their cars run like a bag of crap, and it always will. And that's why, as you guys see here, my car, no engine lights, my car's still idling perfectly, and to think I hardly use this car. But why is that? Because I maintain it to the best example, scanning it once a week, making sure everything's fine, letting it run, taking it for a drive and then bringing it back. Even if I take it for 10-15 minutes, 10 miles down the road and then bring it back, I always make sure I drive the car to make sure it gets up to temperature and the oil always gets around the engine, and that way I can always look after my car. So now we're going to go on to the next one. Next one is tires. If you buy an E60 and you're looking to get tires like I did, I had the run flats on this car when I bought it. The first thing I did is when I paid nearly £800 for 4 new tires all round and lost the run flats. Now, there is no being cheap with BMW, there's no being cheap with the E60s. If you're gonna try and put on part worn or some second-hand budget tires that you found off eBay, like majority of you do, don't own these cars. It's very simple, as I'm telling you straight up. I do not use them kind of things on my cars. Yeah, if you're gonna try and be cheap, avoid buying this car and avoid driving this car. There is no getting around this car being cheap. The next one, guys, as a lot of you guys know, the most maintenance tips on these engines relate to engine parts and the mechanicals. So if you're going to try and be cheap on the mechanical side of things, this is where this car is going to fail you big time. So for instance, you get these idiot guys on YouTube, and I'm proud to say it, these idiot guys, and you guys know who I'm referring to, who go and make videos following silly little forums, who one guy believed that cleaning the Vanos solenoids will help your cause for the rough idle and stop your rough idle. Unfortunately, as many of you guys know from my previous video, that is not the cause, and cleaning the solenoids do jack shit. That stuff does not work, so stop following this bullshit that these guys have got off a forum and thinking that it actually works. Cleaning your solenoids does fuck all. The best best advice I'm giving you, and guys, listen to me and stop messaging me with your codes about your Vanos. Go and change them and stop being cheap. Go and change them to the genuine dealer ones. Stop being cheap. The problem with you guys is, what a lot of you forget is, when you buy this car, you don't even realize it's down in power, because it is not powerful like they are here in the UK. So the way you see it is, you only start realizing when you get an engine light on, because your cars are underpowered anyway. So then when you start getting it, you're like, oh, I've got Vanos codes, I've cleaned them out and I don't know what to do. That's because you're all retarded and you don't understand how to take your solenoids out and actually replace them with the genuine BMW ones. You cannot be cheap on these cars, so stop trying to be cheap. Stop going for all these other stupid little YouTubers who know nothing about this car, who are following forums from what people have put on there, because they're not even mechanics. The majority of them, as you see with the majority of YouTubers, they follow forums. They have no sense. They do not know nothing about these cars. They're all wasted pieces of space that need to be removed from YouTube, and that's why I'm there telling you the truth. This goes for the E90 as well. Stop using cheap parts. Do not use cheap. Do not think you clean them. Clean them does not work. The second one is the oil filter housing gasket. Do not buy your cheap little £7 one that another load of YouTubers like to recommend. Buy original dealer one. The dealer ones do not leak now because they've rectified the issue. Stop trying to be cheap and then come back to me saying it's still leaking, because then when it derails your belts, then you're coming to me telling me that your belts have been derailed. And you think I care? I don't care. At the end of the day, that's what happens when you try and skimp out using cheap parts. Stop using cheap parts and your car will last you a long time. The same for the disaflaps. These are dealer only, or if you're lucky, you'll find them off a scrap car. You cannot buy these second hand from where another company makes them. That I know for a fact, so that's another dealer part. At the end of the day, the M52 engine, sorry to tell you guys, is not a cheap engine to maintain. Whoever told you it was cheap to maintain has lied to you, made you get into this car and not even made you understand the true facts. That's why I'm here, and I'm giving you the facts of reality now. This engine is not cheap to maintain, so whoever's told you that, if you can't afford it now, you best go and sell it, because the simple fact is, this car is not cheap to maintain and will cost you a lot of money down the line. Every part on this car has to be replaced with main dealer parts. That's a simple fact. The only ones you can get away with are the valve cover gasket, which you can buy Victor Reigns from elsewhere, but you cannot buy the oil filter housing gasket and the Vanos solenoids or the disaflaps from online. I'm telling you that for a fact now. They do not work. The next course, which I've talked to many of you about many times, is updates. Make sure you update these modules. Now, as many of you guys know, the Vanos solenoids are known to go. Yes, they are. But if you update the car, then they're 100% gonna go as well. Now, as you guys know, the update stops the rough idle on these. So a lot of you keep messaging me saying you've still got the rough idle on your E60 and your M52, you can't get rid of it. Go and change your Vanos on us for BMW dealer one, stop being cheap, and go and get the update done on your car. That will instantly cure your problem. Because the problem with a lot of you guys is, you're using these, like I said to you, cheap scanners which do not diagnose your codes, and you're sending me your P0 codes. I don't care for your P0 codes. The car is basically telling you to piss off, and I'm telling you to piss off with them codes. I don't give a monkey's toss about your P0 codes. All I care about is if you're using the proper software, you wouldn't even be looking on YouTube. You're trawling YouTube like a stalker to try and find your issue, when your main issue is go and use the proper software. If you can't afford a laptop, you shouldn't even be having this car. That's the simple fact. Now, on to the next one. Realistically, the CCV is another one on here. Do not try and buy them offline. China's the only place that makes them. The only way you can get a decent CCV unit is like I did, via the dealer for your M52. Do not try and use the cheap ones off eBay, which will blow again, or use the cheap parts. There is no way around it on this engine using cheap parts, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't give a crap how many of you like this and don't like it. It's the simple fact, you cannot use cheap parts. And I'm calling out all these other YouTubers who keep saying these cars are cheap to maintain. They're not cheap to maintain. And if you've got a problem with that, come on the video and at least comment and tell me why you think this car is cheap to maintain. Because I'm telling you, a lot of you know right now, this car is not cheap to maintain. You make crap up to make people fall for your crap, so you get big views on the videos, when in reality it's not even the flipping truth. And that's the joke about it. YouTube is full of crap people that know fuck all about these cars. Most of the YouTubers don't even know, because it's not even made in their country. The cars they get over there are made all in South Africa. What the hell would they know about German technology when their cars are made like crap from the factory? So now on to the next one, the coolant expansion tank. Now, as you guys know, I don't have no problems with this, but again, in the US on your South African cars, this likes to fail. Common problem over there. And that goes the same for the water pump and thermostat. Now, as you guys know, I was on 160k on my original one until dealer changed out my one. and it was still running fine. And this is another thing, I keep getting asked why your parts fail so much. It's called quality control, my friends. That's what it's called. In the UK and EU, we have a thing called quality control. We have to have that sticker on our parts. If we don't, we can sue them if them parts ain't part of quality control, and so can the government as well here. Now in the US, you guys don't have that because you have so many parts stores that they just distribute so many parts to make the parts shops money, so they don't give a crap about quality control, because all they want is your parts to fail so you go and spend more money at these parts stores, which means more tax for your country. That's how it works. So what they do is the company's rejects that either fall on the floor or don't pass the high standards, they ship all over to you because they think your cars are built like crap anyway, so just put them with crap parts. That's how it is in the US. Sorry to have to tell you, but that's the reality of it. I know more about BMW than half them YouTubers out there. None of them know what the hell they're talking about, and definitely not about this car. Now, the next one, guys, on this is the pulleys and tensioners. Now, when you're going to change them, only use inner. Do not try and use cheap parts on this either, because this is another common problem. You guys saw me, I only use the best parts for this car. This is why my engine is still standing strong today. Anytime I go to start it up, I know I could drive this all over the country with no issues, no oil leaks, no burning oil, no problems, no nothing. So the next one, guys, I get asked all the time is, what oil do I use? So the oil I use, and I swear by this because I use this on all my cars, is the Shell 5 watts by 40. Since I've been using that on this car, I have had no issues at all with this engine. That oil is perfect for this car. And as I said to you, if you follow my advice and use 5 watts by 40 instead of you trying to go and use 10 watts by 60 like many of you, you'll have no issues. And stop with this hydraulic lifter tick. The hydraulic lifter tick is just because you're not driving your car enough. Go and drive it more. I don't get the problems because I use an additive which stops that, and since I've had this car I haven't had it back again. So you guys just need to stop asking me what oil I use and go and use the right oil. I keep telling you day in day out, you see my videos and you still choose to ask me what oil should I use. It's ridiculous. That is why my car is still standing, still today, still strong. And you guys always ask me, oh, how is your car still standing strong? This is why, using dealer main parts on this car, what it comes out the factory. How do you think these cars manage to 100,000 miles no problems? Then we get them and they have problems. That's because they've been using BMW parts. If they were using Chinese parts, these cars wouldn't even make it to 10K when they first left the dealership. If you use the original parts, you'll have no issues. That's the simple fact. You want to be cheap, it's going to cost you long term being cheap. Trust me. Stop putting your car in sport mode and trying to rev it to the 7K RPM range all the time when driving, because there's a lot of you idiots that go and do that. You buy a BM to make it like it's some kind of performance car. If you want a performance car, that's why they made specially M5. The 530i and your 528 little X size and your 328 little X size are not performance cars, so stop trying to make them be some kind of performance car. These are what they like to call cruising cars. And then you guys have the cheek to ask me why my car's running perfect. There's a simple fact why my car's running perfect, because I don't treat it like crap like the majority of you. And that's why my car is still running perfect to this day and age. And guys, let me just explain to you, I did this car before I started YouTube and it's still running perfect with no issues on 160K. I think you guys have only seen me just replace a parking sensor on this, a parking sensor. Apart from that, my car's had no issues. That's because I don't skimp out on the parts. If you're gonna skimp out on the parts, don't own this car. It's very simple. I'm making it clear to you guys right now. Do not listen to them people that tell you this car is cheap. The only car you can get away with using cheap parts is the E40, 39. Do not think you can come to an E60, E90 here and think you're gonna use the parts cheap. It ain't gonna work like that, and I'm here to tell you right now, it don't work like that. Okay guys, so another problem I get asked all the time is the steering lock. You guys coming up with the steering lock like 24/7. Shall I tell you why that is? Shall I tell you why that is? And I don't even have to know you people to know this. That's because you're following, again, stupid little YouTubers on YouTube without having a key in the ignition by pulling it out the ignition. That is your reason why you've got your steering lock light on, because you're following these other YouTubers who know nothing about these cars. And what that does, it loses desynchronization from the CAS when you're pulling the key out the ignition. The ignition is the key which operates the CAS. Now, when you're pulling that out the ignition, trying to use it as remote, like a keyless car, it ain't cool. All it's doing is damaging your car. If you got the money, do you have the knowledge to repair that? No, you don't. Well, if you don't have the flipping knowledge, stop doing it. It's very simple. And I'm telling you right now, because I'm sick of you guys coming to me, your steering lock light on. The reason you've got that is simply because you're trying to follow these stupid little YouTubers. And I don't give a crap about who watches this, who sees this. They're all stupid. All their knowledge comes from the internet. They've got no clue. The majority of them are dopey. The majority of them look like retards. And that's the simple fact of it. They're all retarded. And that's why they know nothing about about these cars and will never have the brain skills to actually work on these cars and tell you the truth. I'm different and I will tell you how it is, hands down, and I don't give a crap what any of you think or these other YouTubers, and you guys know that about me. I have got no time to care about these other YouTubers who are coming here making my life more headache when I'm telling you the truth. You guys don't want to follow me, then you go and click on someone else's video and listen to them because they got bigger subscribers. The reason they've got bigger subscribers is all for lies. It's all for lies. That none of what they say is the truth. Nothing in there what they say is the truth. Take my word on that. It's all full of bullshit. That's all they are. They're full of bullshit. Like I said, majority of them look disabled, they look retarded, and they look slow. Yeah, in their head, they know nothing about BMW. They've come into a world where they know nothing about. And I'm sorry to have to tell you guys, but look at Nathan. Nathan now bigs up Ista. He didn't know nothing about Ista until I come along. And now he wants to big up Ista like he knows it. He doesn't know nothing about it yet. I'm the only one who knew about that. That's why I'm the only one with the bench setup who's doing what I'm doing. That's because I have got the knowledge to do it. If you want to believe someone, trust who knows this car inside and out. Don't trust these other YouTubers who have got nothing. They know nothing about these cars. They have no mechanical skills whatsoever and have no computer skills, and they have no electronic skills when it comes to the E60 or E90. Take my word on that. They don't even understand how the modules operate. That's why they're on YouTube saying, my car's destroyed. What do I do now? My MOSFET chips are fried, and now I need to find someone to do a new ECU. They don't even know how to clone their own ECU. Retards. Simple fact, they're a bunch of retards. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video. Sorry for keep going on and on and on, but I just want to elaborate to a lot of people who keep asking me how I look after my E60, and they're asking me questions day in, day out about this, about that, about their stupid P0 codes. So this is mostly for them who I wanted to elaborate with. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.